I'm your Jesus-loving and potty host, Sprague. Welcome to Christians with Chronic Illnesses. Hello everybody, welcome to Christians with Chronic Illnesses. It's Sprague, your host. Thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Today is a laying down while recording an episode kind of day. So if you're on YouTube, hey, our faces are super close. Let's make eye contact. The fact that I looked at the camera. Like, imagine if we were just face to face right now and I just looked you dead in the eye and didn't smile. Like, I feel like you guys would last longer than me without laughing. Anyway, today is another Q&A where I answer y'all's questions about Christianity and chronic illness. I'm really thankful for your guys' questions and thoughts. So let's get on with it. Guys, I want to apologize for any breathlessness I have today. I am not doing well regarding POTS episodes today, and just any slight movement makes my heart rate go insane. So my apologies for a lot of breathlessness and awkward pauses that might be in this video, but thanks again for listening. Question number 1. Is it okay that I'm skeptical of chronically ill people and or chronic illnesses? This is a good question, and I say that all the time. I need to come up with a different response than, this is a good question, tougher question. But this is hard because, again, as I have shared pretty honestly on the show before, I personally have struggled with trusting people and their integrity with chronic illness, especially before developing POTS. So, yeah. Is it okay? Let's say it's natural, okay? So maybe there's some natural skepticism in you when someone says, hey, I can't do something, I can't come to work, I can't hang out. Maybe they're rescheduling a lot, maybe they seem kind of flaky, and so your immediate thought is, oh, is this person, genuine? Do they actually want to be a good worker and a good friend? Or are they just using this chronic illness as an excuse? And I totally understand where you're coming from because, again, to be completely transparent with you guys, I have been in that position before where I was skeptical of people when they would tell me their health conditions, which, of course, I feel bad that I have been to that point of being skeptical of people with genuine chronic illness. And I feel horrible knowing that there were so many people that were genuinely hurting that maybe I didn't believe in my mind. However, I did give them the benefit of the doubt most of the time. Actually, I'd say all the time. And they never knew that I was really feeling that way about them, if that makes sense. So I acted in a way as if I did trust them. All that to say, I'm right there with you. I understand where you're coming from, because when you're not in that experience of having a chronic illness, when you are in a healthy and a typical body, it's really confusing to come across someone who can't, do the dishes without having to lay down afterwards. Or maybe a young person who some days can go to work and work an 8-hour shift and other days can't come to work at all. And so I understand how confusing that is when you aren't personally in that body. So I want to give you that token of grace as well. It is hard to understand and to empathize with something that you personally have not lived or experienced. And so though I don't want to say it's okay that you're skeptical, I want to say that to an extent it is understandable, especially if that is not your experience. However, even though maybe it can be understandable to be skeptical of chronically ill people or chronic illnesses in general, it's not a good place to stay there. Because what ends up happening is you come across people, and you will in your life, I'm sure of it, who are genuine people, good workers, who have great integrity, great work ethic, and could be an awesome part of your team or just of your life. But they struggle with real hard illnesses and diagnoses. And those look very complex and different than a normal able-bodied person. This is because chronic illnesses are chronic illnesses. So let me give you an example that maybe could help you understand if you aren't chronically ill. If you've ever had the flu or a cold, some days you feel horrible. You stay home from work, you're laying in bed with fever, chills, weakness, and you were like, listen, I'm one who likes to push through and go to work anyway, but even today I could not get out of bed even if I wanted to. And then there are other days, maybe even a few hours later, that you feel better. You feel like, yeah, actually, I could go to work. I could, muster up the strength and go. And maybe my cold is over now, actually. Maybe my flu is over now, actually. So let's say you go to work, you show up, and then within a few hours, maybe even a few minutes, you start experiencing symptoms again. You're getting hot flashes, you're getting feverish, you're starting to get chills, feel extreme fatigue, almost as if you should have never left your bed. And that's, what it can feel like to have the flu or a cold, where you feel like you're better and then all of a sudden you're not better. And that's often increased by activity. Now imagine a chronic illness, a chronic flu, for example. Chronic meaning that you have it for a long period of time, potentially even a lifetime. Think of that example, and instead of it just being when you have a flu for a week or two, you have flu-like symptoms your whole life, which means that one day you might think, yeah, like I can go to work today. I'm feeling good today. And then you show up to work, and maybe within an hour of being back to work with your chronic illness, you feel like, I probably shouldn't have gotten out of bed today. This probably wasn't a good idea. But then on other days, you might feel perfectly fine. You might feel better. Or maybe symptoms are less and symptoms are worse on different days. But because it's a chronic illness, you're dealing with this from a day-to-day basis. So I hope that gives you some perspective on what it's like to have a chronic illness and why it might seem that we are so unreliable as chronically ill people. It's not that we are unreliable in our personality. It's that our bodies are unreliable because we have an illness that fluctuates day to day. So I really hope that this gives you some perspective, and I hope that you feel not talked down to, because I want you to know it's an understandable place to come from. Again, especially when you don't have that experience yourself. But I think that there is a better place to go with that feeling and understanding. It's a walk into empathy with it. Imagine that you're in those shoes. And if you have a friend or an employee or a patient who has a chronic illness, don't make assumptions. Don't go off of what you hear from other doctors. Don't go off of what you hear from other people or lawyers or friends. No, don't do that. Go ahead and do your research. Look up different experience of people with POTS, because another aspect of chronic illness is that every single body is different. And every single body reacts differently to different chronic illnesses. So, for example, I have POTS, but my body is going to react differently to the POTS than some other people's bodies are going to react to POTS. So I really do think this is an important question, because it's an embarrassing thing to admit. I don't trust people with chronic illness, and that can feel shameful, or maybe you're the opposite. Maybe you're like, chronic illnesses are made up, they're fake. I don't feel bad about it, whatever. But I think if you are able to take a healthy dose of discernment, a large dose of empathy, do your research, and also watch a person's patterns and how they behave, I think you might be able to figure it out, because I think also for those of us with chronic illnesses, how we present ourselves is important. We have to be genuine and honest with where we're at. We have to say, hey, I can't do things some days and some days I can't. There's this meme, and it's an employer asking, so she says, this job requires periods of standing, sitting, and walking. And the lady says, I'm not able to do any of those for prolonged periods of time. And then the employer said, what can you do? And the one interviewing said, all of those interchangeably and sporadically. So I think we just need to be honest with where our limitations are, right? We don't need to be afraid, oh, this person's not going to believe me if they express this. Because even though, there are people out there, and maybe even you listening, who struggle to trust other people's chronic illness experience, And again, I think we all have a healthy dose of discernment that we need to carry. But how we present ourselves is important because we need to be upfront and honest about where we're at. And also, we need to make sure that we are not walking around abusing our limitations. For example, an abuse of, or I guess using whatever manipulation of your limitations would be, okay, I know that my employer knows that I have these chronic illness symptoms. And so today, I just don't feel like going to work, not because of any valid reason, not because my body doesn't feel well, not because I'm depressed, but just because I just want to lay back today and kick back and watch some TV. We all have those days, right? Like, even if you're a healthy bodied person, you have a day that you're just like, I don't want to go to work today. Well, an irresponsible thing to do, as we know, both for healthy bodied people and chronically ill people, the irresponsible thing to do would be just to lie to your employer. Oh, I'm sick today, right? Whether you're healthy or chronically ill, you know that. You know that you can call in sick even when you're not sick. Don't do that. Have integrity and go to work even when you don't feel like going to work. Don't try to get extra pity or manipulation out of your symptoms. Be honest and have integrity with them, but also be honest in creating boundaries and expressing what you can and cannot do. So for the person asking this question, is it okay that I'm skeptical of chronically ill people? Watch how they carry themselves. Do they seem to have integrity generally? Do they seem to be a truth-telling person? Are they a hard worker and a good worker when they can work? Do they seem to try to make everything about them, right? Are they sucking pity out of every single person they come across? Or are they just honest and genuine and talk about their experience a lot because it's a huge part of who they are? It is their literal body. Watch patterns. And as a former employer told me, first impressions don't mean anything. So if you come across someone who has a chronic illness, or just anyone in general, first impressions don't mean anything. Anyone can put on any sort of first impression. But watch their patterns. Who generally do they serve? Do they tend to make everything about themselves? Or do they tend to make life about others as well? And again, there is a tricky balance here for those of us who are chronically ill. Again, I'm right there with you guys. And this is so difficult because we have to have boundaries, but we also have to make sure that we aren't being selfish. And I think that most of us aren't. I think that this is not our problem. And so I hope that if you're listening and you're feeling, oh my gosh, why are you saying all these things? Like, do I do that? Am I lazy? I think that most of us do not manipulate, take pleasure in, or take advantage of our chronic illnesses. I think that most of us genuinely are struggling. We work and we do what we can, and we feel bad when we are not able to do those things, when we aren't able to meet requirements and other people's expectations. And generally, our problem is actually over-exerting ourselves. For you asking this question, keep that in mind. I think most people with chronic illness, when they call off work, they don't want to call off work. When they're laying in bed, they don't want to be in bed. When they're binging TV, because literally that's all they can do if they're lucky and not having a migraine to where they can't have any stimulus, that's probably not what they would ideally be doing in that moment. So come at it with a huge, huge grain of grace. And also pay attention to habits and patterns. Again, that doesn't mean if they're calling off all the time that they're a bad employee. That doesn't mean if they're canceling on you all the time they're a bad friend. That doesn't mean if they talk about their chronic illness all the time that they're trying to get pity. This is a huge part of our lives. But I would say if they are finding ways to constantly make everything about them, and it can never be about anyone else. It's always about how hard their lives are. It's always conversations end up going back to them, comforting them. I would say then that's probably where you have some, leeway to have some discernment and boundaries and say, okay, I know that you have a chronic illness and that's super valid, but that doesn't mean that this can always be about you. But again, I want to emphasize that this isn't even just for chronically ill people. There are healthy people that can make things about themselves as well. Narcissists come in healthy bodies and chronically ill bodies. Chronically ill bodied narcissists just happen to have a little leverage that they can use more easily. So my advice to you, if you are skeptical of chronically ill people, first of all, try not to generalize. Keep in mind that chronically ill people are no different than normal people, other than that, we have a chronic illness, and sometimes that's invisible, by the way. And second of all, I would use your discernment just like you would any person. Again, narcissists can come in able bodies, narcissists can come in chronically ill bodies. Use your discernment to be able to navigate. Okay, is this person just, genuinely having a hard time and will continue to have a hard time because of their body? Or are they using their body as pity in order to get advantages that other people can't get? So, is it okay to be skeptical? It's understandable, but I would highly encourage you to move from that place to a healthier place, both for your sake and for the sake of chronically ill people around you. And again, for those of you listening who are chronically ill, I am in this boat, and I want you to know, chances are, with the chronically ill people that I've met, you are not lazy, you are not abusing the system, and you are not seeking pity. If you are, because I have also met some of us who do that, then you need to hold yourself accountable. You need to try to get out of your victim mindset. If you're more like me, where you end up shaming yourself, you end up overexerting yourself, give yourself time and grace. Love on yourself and affirm to yourself you are genuinely chronically ill. You are loved, you are allowed to make boundaries, you are not seeking pity, and you need to take care of yourself. And if you find that you are making yourself out to be the victim, challenge yourself. I can go the extra mile. I should try to focus on somebody else and their needs today. Okay, I hope the answer made sense. I hope I wasn't too harsh or preachy. I'm just really passionate about it because narcissism drives me insane. And also, we need to stop shaming ourselves if we aren't narcissists, and we just struggle a lot with our chronic illness. So I hope that made sense. If you have any comments or any rebuttals, please comment. Let me know. We got this question again from my sister, Sarah. What makes a good day for you? I know that someone in the past had asked this question, and it was kind of tricky to answer, but the way that I answered it before is essentially a good day for a chronically ill person is basically the same as a good day for a healthy person. But I will add some details. I've thought about it a bit since then. So, for example, today I would say I'm not having the best day. Today I am extremely exhausted, extremely breathy. My heart is racing, even though all I'm doing is laying down talking. Seriously, you guys don't even know the amount of breath outtakes that I have to edit out of this. So for me personally, a good day, I do experience symptoms, I would say, every single day. So for me, a good day is a day where my only symptoms I really experience are my light sensitivity, which does suck. It is unfortunate. I don't like it. But that's just where light feels extremely aggressive, like to the point of like if you've ever had a migraine or like a really bad headache and you're just like, oh, I do not want any sunlight right now, right? That's like the light sensitivity I get on a daily basis. So a good day is where I'm getting light sensitivity, but like maybe not as aggressive. My heart rate is more stable than it typically is, and I'm able to talk and actually concentrate on a thought. So that's one thing I'm grateful for today is my concentration seems to be pretty intact, which is impressive considering how I'm feeling today. A good day would be that I'm able to stand for more than 10 minutes without having to sit down. I'm able to sit up for more than half an hour without having to lay down. I'm able to be with friends without being excessively overwhelmed. I'm able to go for a walk over 10 minutes without my legs cramping. So kind of just minimize symptoms I would say are a good day. A great day would be feeling no symptoms at all. But these are just some examples of my daily symptoms. And for me, a good day would be those just kind of minimizing. So I love good days when I'm actually able to go out in public for extended periods of time. Even when it's just me and my husband out in public, I would say I can only handle about half a day's activities. So like 4 hours out in town before feeling ready to go back to bed. And that's a pretty good day. But generally, a good day for me is what a good day for you would be. As you can imagine, being at peace with the Lord, being at peace with the people around me. But for chronic illness specifically, I would say just a minimized amount of symptoms. And especially regarding brain fog, just the ability to feel. Thank you so much for spending your precious time with Christians with chronic illnesses. Your support means more to us than we can even describe. If you have a desire to donate or join a subscription for Christians with chronic illnesses, please see links in the show notes below. Happy and present without any sort of, feeling like there's something in between me and what's in front of me is very rare. And so to have a day just to feel fully present and like I am here and I'm happy, that would be a good day. All right, the last question that we're going to cover today from Maddie. What would be a starter pack meme for a person with your chronic illness? So I personally have POTS, so I thought it would be funny to pull up some other people's starter packs and then give a little input on what my personal starter pack would be. If you have a chronic illness and you're listening, please comment your starter pack, whether that's just listing the items or commenting a literal starter pack meme. I would love to hear what's helpful for you guys, especially because someday, if the podcast does grow to where I could have a studio, I think it'd be so fun to have a stash of things for every chronic illness I've ever interviewed, whether it's a blanket or a fan or salty snacks or sweet snacks or protein or I don't know, literally whatever. I think it'd be super fun if someday we get to the point of interviewing in person a majority of the time to have those available. So definitely comment your starter pack items below. So the first meme I found, I love the SpongeBob meme where it's like, he looks like a duck. You know what I'm talking about? Like he's like hunched over and he's got like a beak. But the first pot starter pack is Vitacium posted this. It's just anxiety. In other words, it's the doctor telling you, oh, there's nothing wrong. It's just anxiety. A packet of salt, which is so valid because we need sodium. And literally, when I used to work at camp here more often, I literally would carry around these little salt packets and in emergencies just dump them in water, like a small hot cup of water, and down it. And it was disgusting, but it helped. Putting on your socks is a workout. Yeah, so we have compression wear, which like is supposed to help blood flow. And putting on your socks is so much more work than a regular pair because it, first of all, goes like all the way up to your knee, if not above your knee, and it's super tight. So 1,000% valid. And also finding good compression socks is so hard. So if you have a brand of compression socks you like, tag them below because I'm on the lookout. This one is comorbidities being buy one get 3 free. So the meme on this is that with POTS, often they call it like the trifecta, and it's POTS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and MCAS, which is mast cell activation syndrome. Basically, they are all chronic illnesses and they like to pair together. So I haven't been tested yet, but I think that I probably also have MCAS. I have literally every single symptom for it and have since I was a kid. And Ehlers-Danlos, I don't think I have any symptoms for that, thank God, because that one scares me so bad. If you have Ehlers-Danlos and you're listening, you are a warrior, my friend. It scares me so bad. What helps you with your Ehlers-Danlos? Let me know. So yeah, the buy one, get one 3. Thankfully, I only got buy one, get one 2. All the electrolytes. Yep, again, we need that sodium. Needing to rest after showering. 1,000%, guys. Half the time, I'm sitting in the shower. I'm so serious. And then the other half where I'm standing in the shower, yes, that's so valid, just to go lay down after your shower. Sitting in weird places, yeah, like when you're at the grocery store and you're like, okay, I don't feel good, so I'm literally gonna sit on the floor right now in the middle of the grocery store. And I'm just like, someone told me that they were like, I'll just like pretend that I'm like really evaluating the items in front of me. Like, like just sit in an aisle. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna. And I think like another like tip would be they sometimes have those like family restrooms or something where you in the very back towards like the electronics, especially at like Walmart. That would be a good place if you really needed to like go sit or lay down. I know laying on the bathroom floor is disgusting, but I don't know, just a thought. Maybe bring a towel with you so you can lay it below you just in case of emergency. I don't know. But then towels are bulky. Just a thought. Just a thought. Someone posted this one on Reddit, and this one is wild. So this one says, why am I so tired? Valid. Online shopping to fill the void. Eee, I don't recommend that one. Save your money, queens, especially if we can't be working full time. Don't do that. Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. Yes to this one because we Google our own symptoms. We Google our own remedies all the time because it is hard to find a good doctor out there well-knowledge in POTS. And again, if you're listening and you're in the medical system, thank you. We appreciate you so much for trying to learn more about our chronic illnesses. We need more people like you in the system. A McDonald's large fry, 1,000%. I don't know. It's like McDonald's is so packed with sodium that it is so unbelievable, like unbelievably relieving to just go to McDonald's and grab yourself a McDouble or a large fry. It's a godsend, for real. Never any energy to clean. Yeah, and then when you do clean, you're like dead for a few days. I should get a cane. Doesn't move. So, yes, for the cane. For me personally, it's not the cane. It's a wheelchair. I know I need to get a wheelchair for my own because it's just helpful to have in case of emergencies. I do use wheelchairs sometimes at the store or like going somewhere like an aquarium. Sometimes, maybe a fair or something like that if I really need to. But I feel that like doesn't move. Like it's just that paralysis of feeling like, it's just such a big move and there's complications and they're expensive. And so that's super understandable. I relate to that. But if you need a mobility aid, just get one. Nobody cares, guys. Nobody cares that you have a mobility aid. Just do it. It might be uncommon because you're young and people might think, wonder what's going on. And I have heard of people getting rude comments, but I think that illnesses vary so much, and a lot of people are just well-knowledge in knowing that they don't know what's going on. Like, you could have just come out of surgery. They don't know. They don't know. You could be pregnant and having complications. They don't know, bro. Like, listen, I think most people don't care, and even if they do care, they're probably not going to let you know. And if they do let you know, their opinions don't matter. So get your mobility aid. Do it. And I'm talking to myself too. So many pajamas and grippy socks for optimal comfort and balance. I don't understand that personally because that would make me way too hot. The grippy socks I get because if you're already prone to losing your balance and falling, as we are with POTS, I can understand the grippy socks. But the heat is just too much for me personally. But I get that extremities can get cold. The pajama pants are valid just because we're at home a lot and it's cozy. We've got more electrolytes here and a fancy water bottle because if you're not drinking it every 60 seconds, what are you doing? I mean, obviously that's an exaggeration, but you know what I'm saying. This next one is also on Reddit. It has a medication, and this one's Zofran. I've never taken Zofran, but I do take other medications for my health. Midodrine and Evapridine have been lifesavers. The Evapridine causes really severe light sensitivity on top of already having light sensitivity. But medication is valid. There's a literal toilet, just a toilet. And I think this is because we have more frequent urination, both because of our condition, medication, and also because we have to drink a ton of electrolytes and water. More compression socks, more electrolytes. This person has I can't even tell. It's a face wrap, and it looks like it's weighted, That's so interesting. Listen, I feel that because when I'm having my migraines, I literally cover my face with like stuffed animals or pillows or a face mask to try to get the light out of the way. So I don't know. It looks kind of silly, but if it helps, good for you. More electrolytes and a bed. Like, just a comfortable bed. Imagine getting a starter pack in the mail and it's just like a super like dehydrated mattress in the size of like a cube. And then this is like some dystopian like mega mind crap. I don't know. But then it's like you rehydrate it and it's a bed. But this is valid because we're in bed so much. You have to have like a safe space. And actually me and Paul have kind of, my husband, we have this thing where basically I need one safe room in the house. So like if I'm sick, and I'm a very clean person, I like to have a clean house. But if I'm sick and I can't be cleaning the house all the time, and he's our full-time worker, obviously, then I need at least one room in the house that is constantly clean, and that is our bedroom. I need one room in the house that even if it is messy, it's as simple as making the bed. It's as simple as putting a dirty cup into the sink. So having that one safe space in your house, even if the rest of your house is not the way that you want it to be, I highly recommend doing that because it has helped me in my sanity so much. Because on a bad day, I can have my clean room with my plants and my diffuser and my TV, and I can close the door, lay in my made bed, and just try to recover in peace. And it helps so much because we all know, well, hopefully, that our bodies and minds are connected very deeply. So having a bed like that's comfortable, that you feel at home and safe and can kind of regulate your system, that's a good idea. Have a good bed. It is worth it. Spend the money you need to spend. Do what you got to do. Have that one safe room in your house. Okay, do it. I dare you. As for me personally, I think that pretty much covered the starter pack that I would have. The electrolytes, compression socks, water bottle, face mask so that when you're having migraines, medications, a comfortable bed, a cool house. Ice packs are great so that when you're getting feverish, you can cool yourself down. Salty snacks, pickles. I think I'd put pickles on there. Pickles are a lifesaver. Super, super phenomenal. And also, I don't know about you guys, but for me, a beef jerky stick. A beef jerky stick is loaded with sodium and also has a good amount of protein, but not so much that you're like wrecking your digestive system and making your symptoms worse, but just enough. And I don't know why the protein helps me, but it really does. So I'd say a beef jerky stick I would add to that. Other than that, regarding the starter pack for POTS, something that you can just like put your feet on, and I don't know, lay on the floor and put your feet on a chair, I guess. But that's really vital for our condition, is having something to put our feet up on. But thanks for that question, Maddie. That was fun. Okay, guys, this has been fun. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope that it was thought-provoking. I hope that it was silly. And if you have any thoughts, please feel free to comment below. If you have any questions or comments that you would like me to cover in a halftime show, I would be more than happy to respond to those. So leave a comment below or send an email to cwcipodcast@gmail.com. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves and get some rest out there, especially with the weather getting warmer. Love you. Bye. Thank you so much for being a part of the Christians with Chronic Illnesses community. Please remember to follow, rate, and subscribe to the show. You can also follow us on our socials at CWCI Podcast. And if you're interested in sharing your story, please email us at cwcipodcast@gmail.com. If you are interested in contributing to the production of Christians with Chronic Illnesses, please see the show notes below for subscriptions starting as low as $1 a month, or email us for a more direct way to give. This show is hosted and produced by Ellie Sprague, and our incredible logo, thumbnail, and overall CWCI artist is Brianna Middleton. This show is intended for entertainment and encouragement purposes only. Please talk to your doctor before trying anything you hear on this show. Until next Monday. I present to you the supernatural case of an accidental time traveler by my husband, Paul J. Trumba. It's a super interesting book. I'm not even much of a reader, but I read through this thing pretty easily. It's pretty large print, and it's about 500 pages. You can find it on Amazon. It's about Lou Barrett, who suddenly finds himself in London in the 1800s. He has no idea how he got there, and he goes on to form a really hilarious and cute relationship with a witch, a wizard, and a brawler, and they go on to fight supernatural evils together. I highly recommend. It's definitely for mature readers, but it's a really good book, and you can find it on Amazon. Again, that's The Supernatural Case of an Accidental Time Traveler by Paul J. Trumba.